back, everybody. This is part 2 of the video with the 800 watt VFD control spindle for the SainSmart 4040 CNC. What I'm on with now is excuse me, is connecting the actual, making a cable up between the VFD and the spindle. That is the instructions for it. You can see that. It's pretty simple really, and where it connects. It's within the details of it. You can use a 3-core cable, and the cabling is red, blue and yellow. Well, I will use the 3-core cable. I use the earth for the other one, for the yellow one. Okay. It's pretty simple. I'm just on the moment, in fact I'll show you. Is just putting the connectors on, and according to the diagram, number 1 is red, which I'll use the brown, and then the blue is number directly underneath it is number 3. So I'll be doing that next, because it's actually underneath. But what I do is I always like to tin the cable first. Okay, just clean the flux, clean the soldering iron a bit. Then all I'm doing is just there you go, it's tinned. And then she'll put it to the connector that it's going to, which is that one, and then I'll just put a bit of flux on that one, then pop that wire in. A bit more flux. There we go. Solder it on. Okay. Right. As you can see now, they're connected on. It's 1, 3 and 2. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit of shrink wrap. Right, so they're soldered on. I've just slipped a piece of shrink wrap over, okay, and then I have a special thing for shrink wrap, and believe it or not, it's this. I don't use a soldering iron, but this is very good. But they use it for the craft tools where they put heat source on, and it melts like an enamel type thing. I don't know exactly what it is, but it works quite well. And there we go. That's shrunk wrap now onto there. Okay, you can see that. What we do now, go to the other end and pop the the screw ring back on. Pop that back on. That's what goes onto the motor, so the thread has to be on the outside. Then we pop this back on, which screws on to the body where the cables are. Okay, just do that. You can see that there. Now you can see that's on shrunk wrap now. So all we do then is just tighten that on, screws on, and then you can see it's got a shrink. I've done it so that the shrink wrap extends a bit out, so it gives it a little bit more strength. Then we have to put the clamp screw on. Okay. I won't tighten it too far because we've got to put the other screw on as well. I always like to line them up first, and then that's that one. Give it an extra nip. That is now firmly clamped. Okay, it needs to be. It just gives it a bit of extra tightness when you put it. Leave the actual shrink wrap outside the collar. I always give it about 20mm, inch thereabouts. Okay, so that's that done. So that will then fit onto the motor. There you go, one connection. Alright, and the other end then we shall strip back, which I'll show you in a minute, and that will be connected to the VFD then, to where it says connect the motor to. Alright. A lot of people make the mistake when they're cutting through outer cable. I like to use a knife. I just rest it on it, then bend it. You'll find out it'll split it. Okay, you're not cutting into the cores inside. I have a thing that I'm too lazy to go get it really. There we go. Set me adjusters for that. And then there we go. Okay. That's that. I will be putting some spades on, so I'll show you that in now. Right, here we go. These are the spades that I put on. I tend to like them. You push them in as far as you can. Put the unit on. Put it in there and press. And that's it. Job's nice and firm there. Okay. Right, so they're all crimped now. So it's just a case of putting them into the appropriate holes. It's marked motor, you can see that. There, it says motor. Okay, there. Sorry, pointed it wrong way. It says motor, and it's labelled up, so it's quite easy. So the red wire, which is number 1, goes into, which on here is U, okay, which is that one. So you pop that in, that's in firm. The next one is the number 2, which is the yellow, which I'm using the earth because it's it's the cable that I have. Okay, so the yellow goes into marked V, okay, which is the next one to it. Push them right in. I prefer to use the connectors on because it's a lot safer. Okay, and then that one goes into the last one. Pop that in there. Okay. Give it an extra tighten. There we are, all done and dusted. I'll probably have to take these out again once I wire it into the box that I'm going to do, because obviously this will go to a special plug on the box, and then it will be a separate lead on the inside, short lead. Okay, so they're all the blue, just check, goes down to W. Okay, so they're all connected. We can snap that shut. So the spindle and that is connected. Now what we have to do now is get a lead in order to connect to the power supply. Right, here we are. We'll just nip it round again. I've got an old monitor lead. There we go. Get my crimpers, or rather not the crimpers, my wire strippers. There we go. Strip them off again. So I want some more. 1, 2, 3. I'll do this one first. Put that in there. And the crimper, pop it in. Done. Just make sure your wires are around, because you don't want any backing up or pushing the fibres. There we go. There. Done. Of course, when you tighten it down into the VFD there, the screws actually nip these even more anyway. Right. And this is the last one. Pop it in, put it down. There we go. Okay, now it's a simple case of just wiring it in to the VFD. So we'll go into there first, which is the live. You can see that. Then the neutral, which is there. I'm not a great believer in just sticking wires in. You want some sort of crimp ends on, because it just gives it that bit more security. Just giving them a little final nip, because they'll always go again. Many a time we used to go to a box in the factory and you'd find that, you know, the connections got hot because it's come loose, because when it's been originally put in, it hasn't been tightened enough. So there we go, all connected up. Okay, so I need to probably pop the motor on. Thing. Right, the power's on. Don't think you can see the motor. There you go. There's the motor. Alright, now you'll tell, so let's see how quiet this is. You can see it flashing. If I press to run now, I can alter that. That's maximum. That means it's going to hurt 400 Hz. That's maximum speed. There is no vibration with that. It's perfectly smooth. Just hope you can hear me over the motor. You can turn that down. You get to know your speeds for what you're running at, and then immediately you stop, it winds down. That is an exceptionally quiet motor, so I'm really pleased with that. So as you can see, by a few connections, and then the fan will stop because the motor's obviously stopped. It's not working now, so it doesn't need it. So the fan only works as and when the VFD is putting an output to the motor. So I've been reading on it. So yeah, it looks as though everything's hunky-dory, and as I say with anything, you know, read the instructions, get the appropriate gear. Don't try and especially with connections like this, don't try and bodge them. So many people do. I've had some people, well, I've had a couple of subscribers saying, do you think this is okay? I've connected this and I didn't have long enough cable, so rather than go out and buy a piece of cable that's long enough for the motor, they've spliced two pieces of cable together that aren't even the same cables. Joined them, yes, with appropriate clips, but then taped it all up. No, get one continuous lead. That's what I've done. I've 2.5 meters on the VFD to the motor, and I've 2 meters from the power supply to the VFD. So it pays. It's obviously, this has been set up to match this, so I don't have to do anything. It gives me I'll read more in depth if there's any other need, but it's more or less identical to the VFD that I have on my Pro machine downstairs. So, and I have a good set of instructions for that. I mean, it comes with, as you say, comes with a booklet, and the booklet's pretty good. You can't say that it doesn't tell you what you need to know and the connections and everything, but it can be a bit overwhelming if you're not electrically minded, and not everybody is. So, but there you go. So that's up and running. You can, if it's running the wrong way, you can just go into the settings and this is running the right way. But if you go into the settings, you can actually alter the direction of the way it cuts. Okay, if your motor's running the wrong way, you don't have to change your cables around. You can do it within the software of this. All right. So I hope that's sort of that problem out. I've shown you how to wire it. It's pretty simple. Make sure you've got one a crimper, whatever crimper you use, as long as it crimps those little metal spurs. You can see that. That's what you want. You put your cable in that. Okay, the far better, the more secure. Do your connections with those. Do the shrink wrap tail out, so there's a little bit outside the plug for the motor, and you power it on. This should flash, and then it should kick in once you press the on. Okay. Right, that's the wiring and the spindle set up and running. Now, I must stress to you that this is only temporary wiring up. Okay, I've had to do it in order to test the spindle, because it's pointless fixing this to the machine and putting the VFD in a box and finding out it doesn't work or there's a fault. Okay, so once I'm going to install this into a box and onto the machine, this cable from the VFD to the spindle will be taken out. I will be running a 4-core cable. As I say, this is only temporary. I wasn't bothered at the moment, it's just to test it. It will have 4-core because it needs earthing. Okay, don't get caught short, but it's not earthed. The machine is also earthed. I have mine earthed separately anyway, but this needs earthing. There's 4 pins, so you need a 4-core cable. I've got some on order, but I do know now that this spindle and the VFD works absolutely fine, so that does it for me. But just remember, it needs earthing. And check, the other thing to do is, if you've got a multimeter, then just check it's number 4 pin that's the earth. Just, if you earth the body, if you touch the body with one probe and touch the 4 pin, it should give you continuity, which means that that pin is connected to the body of the motor. Make sure that is, because if not, you're going to have to take the cap off and make sure that the connection in there is right. Okay, it should be, but that's another way. It's pretty simple. I can't do any more than that. What I'm going to do is, I won't get a chance today. I'm going to do a video of it, this being mounted and actually running. We'll see what that's like, and then I'm going to enclose the VFD and have the remote control panel to the box front, so that and put an external fan on as well to the unit to keep it cool. That's it. So as I say, like and subscribe, it doesn't cost anything, gets me numbers up, and give me a thumbs up. I like a thumbs up. And if you've got anything to ask me in the comments, if I can tell you, help you in any way, I will do. I've helped a lot of people, and a lot of people's helped me. I've struggled and I've asked people and they've come back with the answer, and I've tried it and it's been right, it's been spot on. So yeah, please, and if I can't deal with it, I might know somebody that can, and I'll put you onto them for a video. Okay, so right, as I always say, you be safe, you be careful, and bye for now. Bye.